We're down here at Pyrmont Park in Darling Harbour in Sydney. But behind us is the office of our friend, the eSafety Commissioner. Now firstly, why the eSafety Commissioner needs such a beautiful location with harbourside views is another question. Why the taxpayer is paying for that? Surely they could move their office outside to Western Sydney somewhere. But that's not why we're here today. We're here today because the eSafety Commissioner has infamously said that she doesn't follow the Bill of Rights and that Australians' freedom of speech is not protected by the equivalent of the US First Amendment, their Bill of Rights.
Do you believe that the First Amendment has too high a bar for the online era?
The First Amendment does not apply in Australia. The First Amendment does not apply in Australia.
I know, but you're an American, so I thought in general, as a standard for freedom of expression, do you think that's too high of one?
No, I don't apply that. I apply the laws of the Australian government. Well, we have a range of graduated powers. There could be civil proceedings and we could take them to court or we could fine them. Of course, the quantum of the fine would depend on the gravity of the non-compliance, but we can use graduated tools like link deletion notices. So if they fail to remove the content, then we can go to the search engines such as Google or Bing to really minimize the amount of content the Australians can see. The First Amendment does not apply in Australia.
At the Libertarian Party, we believe she is wrong. We believe that Australia should have the same protections as American citizens when it comes to freedom of speech, and we want to see a referendum to embed into our Constitution a provision equivalent to the First Amendment of the USA, the First Amendment of their Bill of Rights, to protect freedom of speech.
10 years ago, it was a federal Liberal government that brought in the Children's eSafety Office. And everyone said, well, how can you complain about safety for children online? Well, the only people that did were the Libertarians. And the Libertarians said, this is a slippery slope. This is opening the door and it'll end up in a digital ID. And 10 years later, we were vindicated. Now, do you think that this is all sort of like not real? Do you know what happened in England? They passed exactly the same eSafety Commissioner thing in the UK a couple of years ago. About 16,000 people have been arrested for social media posts. So it's coming here to Australia, thanks to the Liberal Party and the Labor Party. Now, what we say at the Libertarian Party is, we love the Australian Constitution, but Alfred Deakin and the boys made a big mistake. They knew what the US Bill of Rights said and they did not include a free speech protection, constitutional protection. Vote for the Libertarian Party across Australia and for Craig Kelly and the Libertarian Party for the Senate in New South Wales, and we will absolutely champion a referendum to change the Constitution, to insert into the Australian Constitution every single word that you see here in the US First Amendment.
Also, as we stand here and speak now, in this office behind us, the eSafety Commissions are scheming to bring in digital identity for every Australian. So after the election, if you vote Labor or Liberal, after this election, you will have to use some form of digital identity every single time that you want to log on to your favourite social media account. That is the age verification bill. You'll have to verify that you are over the age of 16, and the only way to do that is to have some form of digital identity. And in that building behind us, right now, that's what they are scheming and plotting. And none of this is being discussed at this election campaign. At the Libertarians, if I'm successful to be elected to the Senate, the very first order of business will be to put a private member's bill into the Parliament to repeal the digital ID bill, the age verification bill, and the hate speech bill. Because under that hate speech bill, in Australia now, after the election, if you vote for the Liberal or Labor Party, you can be arrested and imprisoned for up to 7 years because you posted or you shared something online. That is not the Australia I want. I believe in free speech, and we should have the equivalent provisions of the US First Amendment in our Constitution.
Now, Craig just said that he's going to, if he gets elected, the first thing he'll do is propose a free speech constitutional protection. And we know he's telling the truth because it was one of the very first things I did in the New South Wales Parliament. I proposed that for the New South Wales Constitution. So vote Libertarian Party as if your freedom depends upon it, because it does.
Now what we're going to do, I'm sure the eSafety Commissioner up there in her beautiful office overlooking the harbour must sometimes get homesick. So we're going to take this as a gift from the Libertarian Party for her, so she can hang it up in her office, so every day when she walks into there and plots how she can silence the free speech of Australians, how she can work out what we can hear, what we can say and what we can think, she can actually look at the First Amendment of the USA. So we're going up to visit our friend up at the office of the eSafety Commissioner to leave her this sign, because we saw that she's very homesick, living in a country that doesn't have a Bill of Rights, doesn't protect freedom of speech. So this is going to be our gift to her. We tried to get up to level 5, but it says access restricted. So we can't actually present this gift to the eSafety Commissioner. But what we're going to do, we'll leave it down here in the foyer, so all the staff that work for the eSafety Commission can come down here and see the type of protections, the protections of freedom of speech that the Libertarian Party want to see all Australians have. So at this election, if you want to protect free speech, if you want to see Australian citizens have the same rights, vote 1, the Libertarian Party. Authorised by Craig Kelly, Libertarian Party, Sydney.